the fates will tell them something, and then they hear what they want to hear.
Yes.
And then it's like painfully obvious what's going to happen, but they just don't see it.
Yes, and in this case, this does happen because Macbeth goes out and takes it.
Exactly.
Because he thinks he's divinely
So
appointed.
does them telling him that cause him to do it?
Welcome to Classical Etc. Margin Notes, a show about the books we love. You're in the studio with Memoria Press.
Welcome to Margin Notes. In this episode, we are going to be talking about Macbeth. And we are going to be using our standard 4 questions of what's the book about as a whole, what's being said in detail and how, is the book true in whole or in part, and what of it, or because it's also literature where we talk, it kind of, does it move us? Do we like it? Before we get there, though, in the last episode, we talked about where you are going to college. I neglected to really talk about where you went to grade school and high school. So I know Baxter, Luke and Max, I'm so sorry, from their time at Highlands Latin School. All right, Baxter, when did you start at Highlands Latin School?
I started in junior kindergarten. I think I was the first junior kindergarten class, actually.
Oh, yeah, you were. I remember your...
Max was in that class, too.
I was in class with him.
Max.
We met when we were 4 years old.
We have years of history.
True story.
So, and then you
Max
all...
misbehaved a lot.
That's not true.
He was always on red.
I would believe that of Max in kindergarten. So the kindergartners listening to this, you have hope because you could turn into somebody like Max, even though you may misbehave in kindergarten.
He was a
Thank
delinquent.
You. I'm a
You're
compliment.
touched.
This is a compliment.
Yeah. It shows how far you've come. Now, so you went, Baxter, through Highlands Latin School from junior kindergarten all the way through senior year.
I did.
Correct? Okay. Max, you did the same thing.
I did the same thing.
Okay. Luke, is there some variation here?
Yeah, I am much newer to this than these guys.
He was
I
late to
came
the party.
halfway through first grade. So around Christmas time, I showed up and I just thrown into the middle of things.
Okay.
But
and
I did all the way through.
apparently these guys let you be their friends. Their friends.
It took a while to decide.
Yeah,
it was a couple years of evaluation.
For sure.
We were unsure.
Okay. So this really, and really one goal of this podcast is to be able to show what students who go through Highlands Latin School come out with. And so in that vein, I mean, last episode we talked about fidelity. In this one, we're talking about Macbeth. Now, I kind of want to blame somebody for this. So we came up with our book list by Baxter, Max, and Luke all sitting down independently. At least that's what I asked for. I don't know if you actually did independently, but
No, we did.
independently came up with a list of 12 to 15 books. And then as a group, we came together and decided which ones we were going to do. I think Baxter's the one that came up with Macbeth.
I
Was that
also
right?
had it on my
He
list.
had on his
Oh, yeah,
list
okay.
too.
No, okay.
Oh, okay.
So, no, okay. I was going to blame Baxter. Okay, so Luke is our reason for being
No,
here.
Baxter
Well,
had it
I
too.
did.
They
I
both
had
did.
it. I don't.
Oh, that's
I'm
why.
not glad I had it.
That's why we said absolutely we're doing this because
Yes.
we had 2 votes. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to thank Luke and Baxter.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Max, you're not getting
Of course.
gratitude for this.
No, I didn't
It's because
want
you
to
didn't wear
read
a
it.
jacket, Max.
Yeah,
Great intellectuals wear jackets.
You don't have a tie on,
Look
so
around
just
this
saying.
table.
I think great intellectuals also know not to mix 2 plaids.
That is, I was out of desperation. I didn't have any other shirts to wear.
So, first of all, I have not read Macbeth in probably 20 years.
Me neither.
No, you read it. When you read it in what? 5 years ago.
Like 2 years ago.
2 years
Junior
ago. Junior year.
Mhm.
Okay. See, and I come in at this. I have no teacher to teach me, and yet you all were what? Were you with Mr. Yankee,
Mr. Breland.
Mr. Breland,
Yeah.
teaching you this? Okay, so you all should have some actually wise thoughts about this.
It's a lot of pressure.
But this was delightful to me.
I really enjoyed it as well.
Okay, so we have 2 votes for delight.
I don't know if I would say delight, but I enjoyed it a lot more this time than I did the first time.
Okay,
I am not a big Shakespeare fan in general.
It was
honestly.
on your list.
So
I know
this
it was
was-
on my list. I think
this was-
Shakespeare's valuable to read,
Baxter's scruples that put it on his list,
but
but you just don't like
I'm
it.
not the biggest fan of Shakespeare. No.
Okay.
Out of all the English writers, Shakespeare's doesn't make my top 3.
Okay. Do you enjoy watching a Shakespearean play?
I've never watched one.
Okay, we're going Shakespeare in the Park this summer. All right. We that I think also will change your your experience to Shakespeare. Okay, well let's get into it. What is the book about as a whole? Now, last time we threw out a lot of ideas when it came to fidelity. This time I would like each person maybe to give one idea of what this book is about. So as a whole, I guess real quickly, I'll just synthesize. This is the story of Macbeth, a general in Scotland who kills him and his wife, kill the king, and in order to steal the throne, and the ramifications of that. Okay, so that's like the what's the story about? Like that's the quick and dirty. Here's the plot. But the if we think thematically, what's the book about? Luke, you liked it. What do you think the book's about?
Well, I'll take the easy one. I think that, I mean, in whole, it's about ambition and the consequences of that, of reaching so far above that. And yeah,
okay.
Yes, we could talk about it more in a minute.
Okay.
I wanted that one. That was one of the things I remember from my first read is ambition. There's a lot about fate in the book. I mean, it opens up with the witches, and a lot of times there's conversations about fate and scorning fate or disdaining fortune, and what the role of fate is in Macbeth's life and Banquo's life, and etc. So I think that is a big part of the book.
Okay. Baxter, do you have one?
Yes. Mine was going to be about ambition, but I do think it's about ambition, but I also think it's about the danger of consequentialism and saying that the ends justify the means.
Oh.
Which I think was a kind of a hot topic at the time with...
In your class when you read this?
At the time it was written.
Oh, the time it was written. Okay.
Which I can talk about later if we want to get into that.
Okay, this is fascinating. Okay. I had in my mind actually what Max brought up was fate. Because I am very just taken with the conversation that Macbeth has with the witches, and then he tells his wife about that and sets this in a sort of unintentionally sets this plan in motion, because he's sort of like, hey, what do you know? This is what I heard. And then she was like, yes, let's do it. And so that is a fascinating conversation for me. Okay. But that gives us 3 things to talk about when we get to the question of what's being said in detail and how. Okay. So, Baxter, this is a little bit out of left field. Okay. I did not see this one coming. I think you're probably right though. But can you show us maybe somewhere in detail where that's being said?
Well, I think that really you can see it in Lady Macbeth as a character. I think that she kind of represents expediency in the book. She kind of says she is certainly a proponent of killing Duncan for the certainly, obviously, for the end that she wants. And I think it's when you watch how she interacts with Macbeth, it is clear that she is less worried about the act of murdering Duncan and more worried about like, oh, she's going to be queen and he's going to be king and they're going to rule Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, does anybody disagree with that?
I mean, I completely agree. I think that's kind of tied up in the ambition thing.
And what is Lady Macbeth's end? How does it end for her?
She kills herself.
She commits suicide. Yeah. So,
which is bad.
Thanks, Baxter.
You're welcome.
Yes, it is. And so she's so driven by this desire to be the queen and Macbeth the king that she doesn't realize that she's running to her own downfall.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's also an interesting aside that actually is kind of valuable in this interpretation is that Machiavelli's Prince was written 50 years before this. And so I mean, if you've read Machiavelli's Prince, which I actually have not, but I read a summary, and it's
Oh gosh.
okay.
So you
Max.
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do.
No, keep going, Baxter.
Well, I don't know. This
okay,
is
so the Prince is written.
This is a hypothesis.
Okay,
This is
Prince
a
is
theory.
written, and then Macbeth
Prince is
comes.
written, and then like 50 years later, Shakespeare writes Macbeth, and I think you could interpret Macbeth as kind of a cautionary tale in light of the Prince, which says, the Prince is about supports Machiavelli is a proponent of consequentialism.
Yeah, but isn't it more about like when you're the leader or the king or the prince, like this is the way that you ought to handle things, not this is how you take control of a kingdom?
I don't know what the Prince is about, but
maybe we should get off that topic then.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that as somebody who doesn't know the Prince at all, I think you can still get a lot out of what this book is saying without reading into it as a response to Machiavelli.
Certainly.
But to Baxter's point, the fact that the Prince was published, that also means, those sorts of books do not come out of a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like one crazy guy who writes this, because if that happens, if it comes out of a vacuum, it's never going to become a book of consequence.
Yes.
Pun intended. And so I think the fact that is happening in this time period is probably something that, yes, is being thought about in Shakespeare's time period, right? Do the ends justify the means? I think Shakespeare probably comes down on the side of no, right? Because there's a danger here. Okay. Now, Luke, you talked about ambition. You said this, the whole thing with Lady Macbeth kind of feeds into what you're talking about. So you have the floor.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think that the book on a whole, of course, is Macbeth. He gets this prophecy that he's going to be king, and then once he starts thinking about it, he's just obsessed with it, and he can't let it go. And then his wife encourages him to do it, and then I think once he gets on that path, it's just like it spirals out of control. Like one bad thing happens, so he has to cover up with another bad thing, and he has to cover that one up. And I think that's part of the reason why this book is so short, is because it all just kind of like, after he does that first act, like it seems like it just goes by so quick.
It
like
does.
Compared to some of Shakespeare's other plays, it's just like it happens so fast and you kind of don't even know what happened by the end of it.
Yeah, like all of a sudden you're like, wait, he killed the king. Oh, wait, he killed the 2 guards. Oh, wait, he killed this other guy. He just hired a couple of murderers to go kill a family. Like,
Exactly.
It's very fast.
Yes. And I think it is also interesting how Macbeth starts off unambitious and gets more ambitious as the play goes on,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And Lady Macbeth kind of does the other way. At least that's kind of what I was thinking. She's very, yes, we have to do this at the beginning. And then she kind of gets more worried as the play goes on.
Well, I think that's because she sees what it's doing to Macbeth, right? Because he starts seeing ghosts and
crazy. And
people realize, like the people around him are realizing that, oh, this is going downhill fast.
Yes.
And I think that's probably part of her concern. And also realizing that I think she's also very short-sighted. And maybe that's the answer to this is what ambition does, right? Is it narrows your field of vision on that one thing you want, because it would seem to reason that if you are a general and you kill the king, and the king is related to the King of England, that perhaps the King of England might send troops in to restore his cousin or whoever it is to the throne.
Yeah.
So you might want to make plans for all of that. And that doesn't seem to be part of any of their calculus.
No, she's definitely not thinking about that.
No. Yeah. What do you think, Max?
I think that, talking about ambition, bringing in Lady Macbeth's ambition is important, but I think what the emphasis is on Macbeth's ambition. And I think if you get into...
Keep going.
I think if you get into what happens to him, that goes less to his ambition and more to what Baxter says about the consequentialism of his actions.
What do you mean by that?
Like, his ambition is what causes him to do the actions.
Mhm.
So you say, okay, his ambition is causing bad things to happen.
Mhm.
But the results of that are not as much a result of his ambition as they are a result of his actions, which his actions were caused by his ambition. So it's a down the line, it's a chain reaction thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that confusing? Like, did I?
No. I think I see the distinction there. And there's part of me that agrees with you because I felt that at the beginning, Macbeth is not really sold on this idea. And so like at the beginning, I really wouldn't call him ambitious.
Mhm.
He's, he seems to be very, very grateful for becoming the Thane of Cawdor. Is that right?
Yes.
And that he was happy out there fighting for his king, right? And he meets these witches, and I really want to pivot to how they talk about fate because this is, I mean, you have Hecate, right? Is that the right pronunciation?
I'm not sure.
We've been taught
We're bad at-
Hecate, but
Oh,
Hecate, really?
that's what I remember from.
That's how I
Elementary school.
said it in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
remember any of
I
that.
think that's like an Anglo-Saxon pronunciation of a Greek word.
Could be.
Okay, but then Hecate is also an Anglo-Saxoning of the Greek pronunciation. So anyway, when like she comes and chastises the witches for interfering in Macbeth's life, right, and all of Scotland, basically, which is fascinating to me because I was thinking of them as the three fates,
Mhm.
and then you have this goddess who shows up and says, like you can be over there spinning, but you can't be showing up and telling people things that make them make decisions because Macbeth thinks he's immortal, right?
Mhm.
Because of them.
Yeah.
And that it almost goes to show that like what we think about ourselves colors how we act, right?
Mhm.
So like at the end, like he's been told he won't be killed by any man born of a woman.
Yeah, he's not worried at all.
He's not worried at all. He's out there fighting. He's like, young Seward, I think, comes up to him and he's like, "Ha, you can't kill me."
Mhm.
I mean, that's effectively what he does, right?
Yes.
Until who is it, Macduff, that kills him because Macduff was born by C-section,
Mhm.
right? So he wasn't born of a woman that way. So that to me is like the fates, the witches showing up. Macbeth does not go on this. That's why ambition for me, Macbeth doesn't go down this path without the fates, without the witches showing up and saying,
Mhm.
"This is going to happen to you."
Like, yes, I agree. I think, like, oh, I lost my train of thought there.
So, well, let me
I completely
repeat.
forgot what I was
So,
gonna
the idea of Macbeth being ambitious. Again, I mean, if we're in a section of what's being said in detail and how, like he's just over here, that he's just. I mean, it's right at the beginning, and they're talking about him, fighting and winning, and Macbeth just. Everything that's said about Macbeth is that he is happy in his position,
Mhm.
right? I mean, even who is this? This is a soldier in Act 1, Scene 2. For brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smote with bloody execution, like valor's minion, carved out his passage till he faced the slave. Right? So he disdained fortune.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting that at the beginning he's
Right?
not a fan of fortune.
And then in Scene 3, he meets the witches.
Mhm. Well, to your point too about how our vision of ourselves colors
Mm-hmm.
like the way we think. I think Banquo, who's kind of the light in it all, he's like one kind of good character. He kind of knows what's going on. He says, But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles to betray us in deepest consequence. Which I think he sees exactly what's going to happen. That the fates convinced Macbeth of something and won him to their side, and then that just sends him down a horrible path. And that's kind of the nature of evil. It tries to convince you that what it's telling you is good, and then bad consequences happen.
Well, and they don't, right? I mean, the witches give him 3 statements: all hail Thane of Glamis, all hail Thane of Cawdor, and then all hail thou shalt be king hereafter. And he doesn't really believe them until the second one happens.
Yes.
Right? And when the second one happens, he goes, oh boy. Right? Now, this brings up an interesting thought experiment. If he didn't go for, or, you know, if he didn't try to seize the kingship on his own, would the fates have happened such that at some point he would have become king later on? Like, if you know the future, do you have to go out and take the future, or do you just let the future happen to you?
Do you have an answer to that question?
No.
Okay.
This is why I asked the question.
Yeah.
That's in the weeds. I mean, like,
it's a hypothesis contrary to fact. I will grant you.
How do you even start talking about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was telling Max a little while ago, I get really frustrated reading all these books about fate and free will. It seems like it's a theme in so many like classic books, and then there's like never an answer to it. Like we don't really know what's going on. But I think that's kind of the point, is just you have to think about like your role on Earth versus the higher powers above you. And that's the point, is just to get you to think about it. I don't know if we can ever like actually answer it unless you think contrary.
I mean, I don't know that it can be answered fully to our satisfaction. I think there can be some light shed on it. But it's a fascinating question to me, because there's this idea, right, that if the fates, the gods and goddesses, right, which is the sort of the context of this, right, if they have control over what's happening, and yet we can make choices, right? Like, we absolutely read this, and naturally as human beings, we go, this is on Macbeth and Macbeth's wife. This is not on the witches. Or is it?
Fate plays a very, very big role in this book, obviously. I was going to ask a follow-up question. Does the fates telling Macbeth that he is going to get these things cause them to happen? Like, the fates, you say, know the future, and we ask the question, will it still happen even if he doesn't know to go get it? So is the fates telling Macbeth, you will be Thane of Cawdor, you will be king? Is them telling him that the reason he gets it? Would he have got that? Would he have got those titles? Would he have done everything that he'd done if they hadn't told him?
I think that's the question of like, what kind of control do the fates have on Earth, right? I mean, that's fundamentally the question that comes down to it, because they didn't do the first 2. Those were already accomplished before they even went to Macbeth. But I think in the scene before, the king has already said, go name him Thane of Cawdor. And so then the witches are like, hey, look, this is going to happen. They're just giving him information to show that they know stuff that he doesn't know. And then they give him this one thing, that you will be king hereafter, right? Now, we know they're deceptive, because later on they have the thing about not being touched by a man born of a woman, but there's the, what's the other one?
The Burnham Wood marching towards the castle.
But when like he won't be defeated till the wood marches towards the castle, and the soldiers all cut down branches and carry them so that from a far distance they conceal their numbers, and it's reported to him, oh, the wood's moving towards the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So the fates have, by the end of the story, we also know that the fates are deceptive. And so I think you could absolutely read this, and I don't know where this is going, for the record. Okay, you all are used to me having a plan of where we're going. I have no plan here. They absolutely could have gone back and said, when we said that thou shalt be king hereafter, we didn't mean the king of Scotland. We meant the king of your home, right? Or something along those lines, right? Like, that's exactly what they do later on in the book.
Kind of. I don't know. That's kind of a stretch. I don't know how I feel about that.
What do you mean this?
Yeah, I agree. King
What?
of your home? I mean,
I'm just saying that any prophecy is interpretable in any way that the hearer wants to interpret it.
Mm. I mean, yes. I mean, that's a super classical image too. Like all the time in ancient plays, the fates will tell them something, and then they hear what they want to hear.
Yes.
And then it's like painfully obvious what's going to happen, but they just don't see it.
Yes. And in this case, this does happen because Macbeth goes out and takes it
Exactly.
because he thinks he's divinely
So
appointed.
does them telling him that cause him to do it? What if they meant king of the home, and then he was like, "Oh shoot!" Or he went and took king of Scotland, and they freaked out because.
Well, that's what Hecate does. She's like, "You were not supposed to do this."
So you think that the fates messed up, and he did something that was not part of his fate? He did get out.
I think
of his
I would
fate.
have to go back and reread it very carefully, but on this reading, I would probably say yes.
Interesting. I didn't think about that.
I don't.
So you think someone inside the text, a person can not do what they're fated to do? You can avoid your fate.
Well, we also see, I will say, like, she prophesies that Banquo's sons will be king for a long time, and Fleance does nothing to, like, try and take hold of that, and that becomes true as well. So I think that could be, like, an alternate side to it, where the fate will happen whether you try and go and get it or not, because that's what happens with Banquo's son.
Banquo's son.
Remember?
Did you read the book?
They prophesied that he would be.
It's been 20
king.
years.
it's been a while.
I finished it last night. Okay. Yeah. That's. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's like I'm in Act 3, Scene 5, and this is where the witches meet Hecate, and she says, and Hecate says, "Have I not reason?" I mean, this is about her being angry. Beldams, as you are, saucy and overbold, how did you dare to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part or show the glory of our art.
See, I don't think that's saying exactly what you're saying.
Explain.
I think that what she's complaining about here is that they did it without her knowledge.
That's kind of how I read it.
But you
too.
said
she's like,
she's mad that they did it. Period. When you were talking.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's keep reading. Keep reading, Max. And which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who as others do, loves for his own ends, not for you. But make amends now, get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. So yeah, I mean, you're right. She's mad that they did it without her, but I don't think she's saying that they should have done it.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily what she's saying either, but I don't think she's explicitly saying you should not have meddled in Macbeth's life. I don't think she's saying that.
Right, because the fates meddle with everybody's life, whether we recognize it or not. Yeah.
But
this is like an explicit meddling.
Do we know if it's meddling, if he's fated to do it? Like, I mean, we haven't resolved that issue, I guess, but.
Are the fates fated to do something?
Feels like you're back in philosophy class all over again, Max. But I think what we see at the beginning and this is our question about what's being said in detail and how, where we say, right, for brave Macbeth, disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, right? Like Macbeth probably would not have done this without the fate stepping in. Now, your causation, I think I'm a believer in free will, so I believe Macbeth went and actually chose. He got this information and said, "I'm going to act on this." And so he bears the brunt of the responsibility, but it's almost like the fates have to step in to get him going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think. Macbeth seems like a good guy at the beginning of the play. I don't think he would have done it.
He is. I mean, he's even the witches praise him. Actually, he's called Bellona's bridegroom, which that means he's a good warrior. I don't know if that's like morally has any moral weight, but he's definitely praised for his loyalty and courage, at least.
Yes, he's definitely showing. He's showing virtue at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because time is flying. Wow, we need to talk about, is the book true in whole or in part? I mean, some of this we're already kind of arguing about this. We've jumped on this, but does ambition always drive us to bad consequences? Is consequentialism always wrong? And we've kind of worked out that we can't work out fate and providence, so maybe we just sit in the mystery of that. But I don't know. I mean, what do we think?
I have a distinction to make. That it has to do with this. Don't worry.
No, Max, I am proud of you. I'm proud of you that you learned that we have to make distinctions. Let's do it.
I think we need to distinguish between all ambition and Macbeth's ambition.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you said you asked the question: is ambition always bad? Basically.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that me and Luke were talking about this morning.
You cheated on us again. Talking before the show. Okay.
Well, we're stuck in the same room reading the same books.
They're like,
I don't know what you want us to do.
We're literally reading at the exact same time, 2 feet apart from each other, and you want us to just look at the book.
I literally tried to stay away from you guys, so I didn't have these conversations with you this week.
We didn't necessarily
Not
have
just
this
because
kind
of
of
the
conversation. It was just a thought. We were like,
Okay.
oh, did you notice this on page
Okay.
60 or whatever?
All right.
Ross, who is a smaller character, but he says that he describes it as thriftless ambition.
Where is that?
Act 2, Scene 4, line 28.
To scene 4.
Yeah, it's also a question of whether ambition is just the desire to be great. I know there's that one scene where Lady Macbeth receives the letter from Macbeth, and the word "great" is repeated like 5 or 6 times.
We do need to define ambition.
Yeah, and that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. Shakespeare wants ambition to be, is like that desire to be great, but I don't know if that's wrong or not. I'm not sure.
In Bellum Cataline, which is a book that was on our reading list, and Max cut it because he didn't like it.
That was Luke was on board with me.
Okay, regardless, I actually agree with the cut, but anyway, it was on our reading list, and I read it at school in Latin class, and I wrote my paper about this. Actually, he defines 2 very different types of ambition, which one is ambitione, which is he only uses ambitione for it, and it is political ambition characterized by like dishonest means, I guess, and he's very against that, and that he argues is what corrupts the late Roman Republic. And then there's also I forget the word he uses, but it's pursuit of virtus, which is a complete, he describes it, it's honestly, he describes pursuit of virtues how we kind of consider ambition now in the modern times, which is they're seeking like glory for noble deeds. And like I'm ambitious because I want to be great, but like I want to be great because I want to be a great like statesman who did well for my country. And so he has 2 very different types of ambition there. And this strikes me as ambitione, the political ambition he describes.
I love the distinctions you are making. I'm totally distracted because my copy does not have an Act 2 Scene 4 in it.
Seriously?
Wow.
So you didn't hear the horses eat?
See, there's
eat
Act
other
3,
horses?
and if you move backwards, you go to scene 2.
So you don't have a scene 3 either.
I don't have a scene 3 or 4.
How did you read this? And
This is my 1937 copy of the complete works of Shakespeare.
so you haven't read the book.
Apparently not.
Wow.
Okay.
What about Act 2, Scene 5? You didn't
Wait,
get
so you
that
didn't
either?
get any of the Porter? Sorry.
I thought Porter was Act 3.
Act 2.
Yeah. Did he say?
I don't know. Maybe they're
Act
just
3.
No.
marked
Oh, it's Scene
differently.
3? Act 2, Scene 3? Is
I
it
don't know
Porter?
if the acts are different. I have no idea.
So you don't...
But
Did you read about?
we'll figure this out afterwards.
Okay.
But just
Well,
for anybody following
Anyway,
along, if
in
they
the
see-
real text, he says, thriftless ambition that will raven up thine life's own means.
Okay. Did we define what thriftless means there?
If it helps, my notes from junior year, and I was not the best student in junior year. my notes from junior year say it means skillless.
Skillless. Oh, interesting. Okay. But Ross is saying there what? It's against nature still. Right? Like this is not a good thing. And who's most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth. Yeah. Okay. So they're talking about who's going to get the kingship. But is Ross referring there to Malcolm and Donalbain, or is he referring to Macbeth?
Well, I think the against the nature part is referring to Malcolm and Donald.
Well, this is when they still think that Malcolm and Donald did it,
Oh, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
but it still applies to
so
whoever the murderer
it's
is.
the murder is the ambition.
The murders, yes. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha.
So
okay.
they don't know it's Macbeth, but they're saying whoever did it, their
Okay.
ambition
Okay,
will raven up their life's means.
okay. So, but what we're saying is that the distinction between ambition, political ambition, and what was the other ambition?
Sallust doesn't really have a word for it, but it's defined by like pursuit of virtue. Basically.
Yes. So wanting to move up or wanting to acquire prestige or power is not necessarily a bad thing if rooted in virtue.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if rooted merely in, I guess,
Political ambition.
the desire for power,
Mostly, yeah.
right, is where we end up in the problems of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what we're
Yeah,
saying.
right.
I think I would agree with that. I just the image of Lady Macbeth sleepwalking and washing her hands. I think I saw a high schooler when I was like in grade school. I saw a high schooler perform that. Never forgotten it.
Really?
It is when well done. It's haunting. It's very haunting. And I don't want to be in that position. And what's
So
interesting,
don't kill people.
I do not intend to. But what's interesting also is that Lady Macbeth is showing the results of this, and this gets to your danger of consequentialism, right? But like because they're following this path of ambition, of not worrying about their acts being virtuous to get where they want to go, Macbeth is showing this in a conscious way, right? Like he's awake, but he's seeing ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's freaking out about it. Then Lady Macbeth is showing this in an unconscious way, right? That she's asleep, but she's still showing this. And I find that fascinating that like vice is going to destroy you whether you think you manifest it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But Lady Macbeth has it all controlled during the day. And when she goes to sleep, that's when she's showing her hand.
Yeah, I think not to open a whole nother can of words, but sleep and the contrast between sleep and death is huge in this play. There are several times where they refer to sleeping people being dead and to dead people sleeping. And I think that's kind of that scene is the culmination of everything that he's saying about that throughout the whole play.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Baxter, do you want to say anything about I think you've said that you think the play is true with regards to it speaking to the danger of consequentialism. Anything else you want to add there? No?
Not particularly. No.
Okay. All right. So what of it? Did it move you? Did you like it? After this conversation, Max, do you have anything better to say about it?
I never said I didn't like it.
That was me, mostly. I mean, Max.
I don't know, anything negative.
I didn't say I did like it, but I didn't say I didn't.
Okay, well,
I liked
did it move you?
Yes, in part. There were parts of it that I really liked. Shakespeare's hard for me. I understand that it is valuable and I want to get something out of it. But sometimes I just get lost in the words. But I don't not value it.
You all also read, it's clear actually that you all are used to attaching meaning to like repetitive words that I miss a lot of that because I'm focused on like what's happening. And I think we've had this conversation that I don't actually picture these things in my mind. And so I could see with that habit of reading Shakespeare is more difficult. Whereas I'm tracing to figure out what's happening. And I found this just lovely. Loved it. But you know what it spoke to me of? I just, one thing I want to throw out there.
Go ahead.
The importance of choosing the right spouse.
Wow. I did not think about that, but I totally
you see where that's coming from, right?
I mean,
and I
his wife is crazy.
And I don't mean to throw everything on Lady Macbeth, right? Like it's not like, but it definitely, in my text, this is, I think, Act 1, Scene 5, right? Where she gets the letter from Macbeth, right? And she very clearly is like, this is what I'm going to do, right? And I'm going to push him towards this. But you also have Macduff who goes, and it's a patriotic act for him to go try to support Malcolm, right? But then he leaves his wife and kids and they all get slaughtered.
Yep.
Right? Like she did not make the right decision in who she married. Right? Like,
oh, I don't know. I think that Macduff is a virtuous character.
But he left his wife and kids knowing that danger could come.
Because he chose, well.
Now, granted, we like in our stories of history and patriotism, there are stories upon stories upon stories of men going out, doing the thing, of sacrificing themselves. Generally speaking, the women and children are fine, but there is always that danger there, right? So I'm not saying Macduff made or his wife made a bad choice necessarily marrying him, even though I did say that. But I do think those are the only two couples we know of in this play. And you very clearly see in Macbeth's scenario, this is a bad sign, this is a bad arrangement. In Macduff's scenario, she's mad at him when she finds out that he's fled, right?
He didn't even tell them.
Didn't even send a messenger. Like, hey, go over there, tell her I'm out. So that maybe she could get away. And so anyway, that was one thing that this really, because it'd been 20 years since I read this. And I'm like, Macbeth's a great guy. And all of a sudden I see what his wife does, like how she takes the letter. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. Right. So, importance of choosing a good spouse. All right. Luke, Baxter, did you like it? Did it move you?
I really like this. I've read this probably too many times. I've read this 4 times in the last 2 years, I think, which I had to read it for class. So it's not just doing it all for fun, but I really, for Shakespeare, I really like this play. I don't necessarily think it's the most profound Shakespeare ever, but I think that as Shakespeare's stories go, like plot wise, this one is super fun to read. I also think, this just shows me how much there is in Shakespeare, because even on this reading that I did this last week, I was seeing new things that I hadn't seen before. And I think there's so much more to talk about. This is all Shakespeare. There's so much, but like that we didn't talk about here. Like there's the porter who tells you exactly what ambition is. There's also, although you might not have.
I'm really confused by this.
The porter is so important.
The porter If you
And
read
you didn't even read it.
if you read what the Porter says, it's exactly what ambition is. But he says it in a joking manner, which is what Shakespeare does a lot. Is he has the fool tell the truth, which is the Porter.
I have a Porter in what is this?
Well, he comes up twice.
Act 2,
doesn't he?
Scene 1. I have that. Okay, well, all right.
I don't.
I guess I need to go get your copy after this. All right, Baxter, you suggested this with Luke, but you don't love Shakespeare.
I don't. I mean, he's great. I mean, like,
Did you get something more out of it
there's a
after
lot of
like
value.
reading it
I
for
did.
the second time?
I know I was hard on it at the beginning of the episode, but I really did. I mean, I appreciate the depth of his plays. You know, you can, like Luke said, you can read it many, many times and get something out of it every time. And I think I have more of a personal preference for like a fidelity, which is just a little bit easier to read, a little bit more, you know, it's a little bit closer to me in time and space, a little bit. But I think, especially Macbeth, I found value in it as almost like the way you find value in a fable, which is it's a cautionary tale. And, you know, I'm sure great intellectuals can get a lot out of this book that I'm missing. But at the very least, I thought, you know, it's like a fable where it warns you and it's pretty clear.
I agree with Baxter's point. That's one thing I meant to bring up. That's one thing that I don't like about Macbeth is there's no like redeeming character. It's all kind of the negative side.
Well, it's a tragedy.
But even in King Lear, you have Cordelia. Like you have,
okay.
I don't know. That bothered me a little bit. But anyways.
Yes. I mean, I think it is known as one of his darker plays. But I think, and I'm still stuck on this, I'm going to go look up Shakespeare in the Park schedule right after this because this, I mean, because actually you just referenced this as a book. Yes, it's in book format, but this is a play. And this was designed really as entertainment, right? Now it's high quality, very deep entertainment, but I think this was the kind of thing that in that day you would have people from all sectors of society watch this, and some people would get what's being said more than others that would just enjoy it for enjoyment's sake. But I do think it's also good to enjoy it. So maybe we'll go find a play to watch, because I think that when well done, Shakespeare is delightful to watch in performance. And maybe that would transform your reading of it. All right. Well, wow, time flies. So, hopefully this was enjoyable to our listeners. It was enjoyable to me. I don't know. I mean,
great.
I enjoyed
time talking.
Yeah, it was great.
And hopefully if any of our listeners read Macbeth and struggled through it like you all did, hopefully it shed some light on what they read and, you know, hopefully keeps us reading into the future. So our next episode is on Frankenstein. Now, the one thing I will say is that there are multiple publications of Frankenstein. So since we had this problem with Macbeth,
Who's we? I think you had that problem.
we as a group had a problem. Okay. Now, the copy that I recall purchasing for this is the 1818 text. It's the original text.
Yeah.
And so just as people read, you can, you know, and I think you can go find online actually what she changed. And because people have done that kind of analysis, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think it'll be a great conversation, and hopefully it's an enjoyable read.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Margin Notes. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know by liking this video or sharing it with a friend. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop when we post new videos. We're so glad you were here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.